Welcome to Swing Trading and Coffee. My name is Anthony, and today I'm going to be diving into two different topics. Number one, what are the odds that Elon Musk's pay package gets approved? And what are the consequences either way? In the second part of the video, I'm going to be doing a technical analysis of the charts, and I'm going to share with you my personal swing trading strategy. Also, I'm going to be giving you my price targets for both the short term and for the long term. But before I get into it, I have to remind you guys, this content is not financial advice. All right, let's talk about tomorrow's Tesla shareholder vote on Elon Musk's pay package. What is the package? What are the odds that it passes? And what could it mean for the stock and the story going forward? The annual shareholder meeting is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central from the Giga, Texas location with a public live stream. So shareholders can actually vote online during this meeting. Now, what are shareholders voting on? This is the 2025 CEO Performance Award. It's 100% performance-based equity for Elon over 10 years. This is a long-term agreement. It's designed around extremely aggressive milestones. So we're talking multi-trillion market cap creation for the stock and huge EBITDA targets. We're talking 28 times the prior award's top threshold. Plus, product rollouts like 1 million robotaxis in commercial operation and 1 million robots. In plain English, he gets paid only if truly massive outcomes show up and he stays in a leadership role. Now, how does the vote work? So this matters for the odds. It's a simple majority of shares present or represented at the meeting. Now, what does that mean? No supermajority, and they just have to win by the majority present at the meeting. So Elon's current voting power counts like any other shareholder present, and that actually lowers the bar versus majority of all shares outstanding. So here are my base case odds. Right now, I put the odds roughly 60 to 70%, leaning towards 70%. Why? So Elon's current voting stake is meaningful, and you combine that with strong retail turnout, and I have a very interesting story about that. And add in a couple supportive institutions, and you've got a credible path to at least 50% of the vote. So the no side is also real, but we're going to get into that later. But many undecided votes historically tend to tilt late once the board's case is clear and the bar's majority of votes has been cast. So who's against it and who's for it? Those against it, you have proxy advisors ISS and Glass Lewis, which recommended no on the vote, which can influence large passive funds. You got also Norway's $2 trillion sovereign wealth fund, NBIM. It also says no to the vote. These are significant holders of Tesla. Now, who's voting for the pay package? So we got Schwab Asset Management, we got Florida State Board of Administration, we have Barron Capital, Treaties Management, and ARK Invest, Cathie Wood, publicly supportive of approving the package. Now, the interesting story is a lot of small Tesla investors spoke up online on X. They tagged Schwab, and they said that they might move their money out of Schwab if they plan to vote no for Elon's pay package. Also, Robinhood tried to seize the opportunity, made it easy for small investors to vote using, I think, like an email system they set up. And they started running these promos that made moving accounts more tempting, like transfer bonuses, reimbursing transfer fees. Simple story is retail got together, they made a lot of noise, and they actually swayed the decision of Schwab. That's pretty incredible. Now, so the big undeclared three as of now are Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street. They haven't disclosed their official position for the specific vote, but I believe Vanguard at least did vote for his previous pay package. So they might lean towards it. Now, the near-term pressure here is really building around one big question. Does Elon stay fully focused? That question lingers because he's had his hands in so many different things. And, during his involvement in politics, he must have been pretty much out of the scene, at Tesla. So the question is, will this pay package get him to have full attention on what really is the biggest AI project ever? Now, let's talk what happens if it passes. So the board gets what it wants, a long runway for autonomy, robots, and energy, okay? With pay only if the milestones are hit. So expect a short-term sentiment pop, or at least a relief rally, because the governance uncertainty fades. When there's uncertainty, the market doesn't like it, they pull their money out. Then we pivot back to execution. So full self-driving progress, robotaxi pilots, energy scaling, and improving the margins of the company. Now, why is the pay package so controversial? So the first one is control and dilution. So if the targets are achieved, Elon's voting stake can rise significantly, and some scenarios paint it as high as 20%, including prior rewards. So the markets at some point may factor in a little bit of dilution. Now, if the vote fails, now you have some leadership overhang. Now, the chair has already warned that Elon could leave or reduce focus if the package is rejected. Even if that's negotiating posture, markets hate risk, so the near-term pressure is likely for them to approve it. So what comes next if they do reject it? The board could come back with a reworked plan, but that prolongs uncertainty, and that could drag the price down. And that's not going to be ideal if you're trying to ride a rally on the AI and robotics story. All right, let's take a look at the Tesla chart. So if you haven't watched the past couple videos, this is a cup and handle formation that we're seeing right here. First, you have a move upwards diagonally here, and then you start to have this rounding. And then the top of it here is not typically crossed just yet. And then over here to the right side, you have one of two things that happen. You either get a little bit of a channel like that, and then you get a breakout, which it kind of looks that way, is that we do have a little bit of a channel and we're looking for the breakout. The other thing is it could round off like this as well to give us kind of like that, that handle. And then afterwards, once you break out above this zone here at 465, 467, that is the confirmation that the cup and handle is doing its thing. So what happens now? So we had a nice rebound these past 2 days. Like Tesla was practically untouched by this big sell-off in the market. So we did come up here to test this, the top, which is where that white line is. And then it failed the first time, and then we came down. Also, we are holding above this red line here, which is a point of control for the stock. This is a high volume area. And I said, as long as we're holding above it, this is still in play. Now, also the other day, I identified this trend line here. So if you take a point from this candle to this one, see here, it acted a little bit as resistance. But I think when we get the second push, it's going to go through. Now, zooming out and just looking at the weekly chart, you can see here that we had a peak in 2022, and then we had one here. This was late 2024, early this year, and then we had the drop. And then we have this trend line above here, which could act as resistance around 520. But, you can see that Tesla has been moving in a parabolic fashion here. It really started in January of 2023. Even though we had this big correction down, we are in a parabolic path. All right, so back to the 4-hour chart. So my targets right here are, first we have the 496 zone, and that is based on a Fibonacci extension. And then we have our big target here at 561. Also have a big moonshot target here at over 600. But that is not a short-term target. That is a long-term target. So what do I think happens either way with the vote? I think if the vote goes through, we'll likely have about a 10 to 12% move up into this pocket right here, around 500. We may even go a little bit higher to 520. But this is what I'm targeting. And if we take a measurement to this zone, it's about 10%. I think it's doable. And I am holding my options through to at least next week to give this time to, have a big run up. Now, what happens if the vote fails? So we have one support zone here at 437, likely would be broken. Our next area of support here would be 415. And remember, if the pay package is rejected, it doesn't mean that Elon's going to bail. It's just a rumor that he might. You know, who knows what's going on in his head. Maybe he's thinking of putting together another company. It wouldn't be that hard for him. He's done it in the past so many times. Now, if the worst happens and the drama really unfolds, we could see a drop back to this zone here. I'm thinking about 350-ish. Not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just laying out for you guys the best and worst case scenarios so you are prepared to react. Now, how am I going to scale out of this if it goes my way? So my first area where I would scale out here is at 495. I'm probably going to take at least a quarter off, and then I'm going to ride the rest up into this big target zone here, at which I'll point, depending on the momentum, I'm either going to scale up more aggressively or give it more time. I do have calls that are 2 months out, and I have calls that are 3 months out. The calls that are 2 months out, I'm targeting that same area I told you guys about, kind of like this pocket here around 520. And for the longer term calls, I'm targeting about 600. So, you know, if it works out for me in the short term, but not in the long term, I'm going to make money on those calls, and then I'll cut the long term ones. If both work out, great. I sell the short term calls when they hit the target, and then I hold the other ones up to 600. So that's it, guys. Tomorrow, the meeting again is at 3 p.m. Central, and we'll see what happens. Best of luck to all you guys out there, and good luck trading tomorrow. See ya.